Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Today, we're exploring two pretty interesting ideas from the Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood. And I have to say, they might seem a little unconnected at first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're going to tackle their unique approach to problem solving. It's called the three concentric circles of problems. And then we'll jump back in time to Constantine the Great.
Wow. Okay.
I know, right? Big jump. But the Brotherhood connects them in a fascinating way, especially with all that stuff about Constantine removing those mystical texts from early Christian teachings.
It's always interesting to see how they weave these historical threads together.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So let's start with those concentric circles.
Sounds good.
The big takeaway for me is how much our perception, not just the problem itself, can make things harder.
Oh, absolutely. The Brotherhood really nails that. It's like they're saying, hey, a lot of the time, we're our own worst enemies.
That's a great way to put it. So
Yeah.
how did these circles work?
All right. So the first circle, that's the actual problem. Pure and simple, right? Think of it like raw data, the situation you're facing objectively.
Okay, I can see that.
So let's say you're dealing with, I don't know, a financial setback. That's your first circle right there. And the important thing is that this initial problem, while tough, it's ultimately manageable.
Right, okay, but we humans, we tend to complicate things, don't we?
We do. We really do. And that's where that second circle kicks in, right? It's not just the problem. It's all that baggage we pile on top of it.
You mean like what we think other people are thinking about it?
Exactly. It's societal judgment. Suddenly, it's not just about the money. It's about, I don't know, maybe the shame or what your family, friends, everyone's going to think. And that fear, it can be paralyzing.
Oh, tell me about it. I've been there. It's like your brain goes into overdrive and just starts catastrophizing.
Yeah.
Suddenly everyone's judging you, and that problem explodes in your mind.
Happens to the best of us. But the Brotherhood, they offer this cool technique to deal with this second circle stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We-
What is it?
Visualize yourself, right?
Yeah.
And you're surrounded by this like protective bubble of light.
Interesting.
It represents your, inner strength, your resilience. It's like a shield deflecting all those negative judgments so you can stay focused on finding a solution.
Okay, I like that. A nice visual. Instead of those judgments dragging you down, you're choosing to protect your energy. Smart. But there's more, right? Isn't there a third circle?
There is, and that's where things can get really messy. The third circle, that's all about potential costs.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is where our minds really go wild. We start conjuring up worst-case scenarios, everything that could go wrong, and we fixate on that, and boom, fear and anxiety go through the roof.
Oh, man. It's like our brains are wired to jump to the worst possible outcome. Like with the money example. We start picturing, losing the house, damaging relationship.
Exactly, total ruin, right? That kind of thinking. But don't worry, the Brotherhood has some wisdom for that, too.
Okay, good, because that sounds pretty overwhelming. How do we break free from all that third circle doom and gloom?
They're big on grounding ourselves in the present. So instead of getting lost in what ifs, they say focus on what you can control right now, in this moment. Like what practical steps can you take today? What resources can you tap into?
Right, I see. Action over anxiety.
Exactly. By shifting that focus, you reclaim your power and fear starts to lose its grip. And it all boils down to realizing, we may not be able to control what life throws at us, but we can control how we react.
That's a really good point. And it actually kind of ties into our second topic today.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, we were just talking about those internal forces that shape our reality, like our thoughts and stuff, right?
Right.
But then there are those external forces too. Things like, I don't know, big historical events, decisions that shape the world around us. And that's where Constantine the Great comes in.
Constantine. Now there's a figure who knew a thing or two about powerful forces.
No kidding. And speaking of powerful forces, let's dive into how Constantine shaped early Christianity. Specifically, all that intrigue around him removing those mystical texts.
I'm intrigued. Let's dive in.
It's funny, Constantine gets all this praise for spreading Christianity. But the Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood, they hint at maybe a more complicated story there.
Oh, there's always more to the story, isn't there? Especially with a figure like Constantine. To really understand his impact, we got to go back to the Roman Empire in the early 4th century.
Okay, paint me a picture. What's going on back then?
So picture this. You've got this vast, diverse empire, right? Tons of different religions and philosophies bumping up against each other. And Christianity, it's still pretty new on the scene, facing persecution left and right, struggling to gain a foothold.
Gotcha. A real melting pot, but not an easy time to be a Christian.
Exactly. But then along comes Constantine. He's a powerful emperor, and in 313 CE, he issues this thing called the Edict of Milan.
Okay, the Edict of Milan. That was one that finally gave Christians some breathing room, right?
You got it.
But
Before that, practicing Christianity could literally cost you your life. But Constantine's edict, it decriminalized the religion and basically paved the way for it to spread like wildfire throughout the empire.
wow, talk about a game changer. But he didn't stop there, did he? There was also that council he convened,
The First Council of Nicaea, that was in 325 CE. Basically, it was a big gathering of bishops. And Constantine, he brought them together to, try to hash out all these theological differences that were popping up within the growing Christian community.
makes sense. You've got all these different groups interpreting things in their own way. You got to get everyone on the same page, or things could get messy.
Right. And the decisions made at that council, they had a lasting impact. I mean, they shaped Christian doctrine and beliefs for centuries.
Okay, so we've got Constantine, this powerful emperor, promoting Christianity, shaping its direction. But what about those mystical texts? The ones that got left out?
Ah, yes. The missing pieces of the puzzle.
What was Constantine's deal with that? Why exclude them? What was he thinking?
Well, that's a question that's kept scholars busy for, well, a very long time. The Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood. They suggest Constantine might have had some, shall we say, political motives for shaping Christian doctrine the way he did.
Political motives, like what?
Well, think about it. He's got this vast empire to unify. And he sees the power of Christianity as a unifying force, right? But to really make it work, he needed to make sure it fit within his vision for a strong, stable Roman society.
Interesting. So maybe he felt like he needed a more streamlined version of Christianity, something that everyone could get behind without too much, I don't know, disagreement.
Precisely. And maybe, just maybe, those mystical texts with all their emphasis on individual spiritual experiences and, challenging traditional authority, well, they didn't quite fit that vision.
I can see that. It's like he wanted a version of Christianity that emphasized obedience and conformity, keep everyone in line.
It's a compelling argument. A version that wouldn't rock the boat too much, so to speak. And to achieve that, maybe those texts that focused on personal enlightenment, those had to go.
So what? He just tossed them out, never to be seen again. What kind of texts are we talking about here specifically? What made them so different from what ended up becoming like standard Christian teaching?
Well, one of the most famous examples is the Gospel of Thomas.
Okay, I've heard of that one.
Now, unlike the canonical Gospels, the ones that focus on Jesus's life and teachings as this historical figure, the Gospel of Thomas is more like a collection of sayings attributed to Jesus. But these sayings, they delve into some pretty deep stuff. Inner spiritual knowledge, direct experiences with the divine.
Ooh, that sounds right up my alley. More mystical, less historical.
Exactly. And it emphasizes personal enlightenment over, blind faith in institutional authority.
I can see why that might have made Constantine a little nervous.
Right. I mean, imagine you're an emperor trying to hold this massive, diverse empire together. And then you come across a text that encourages people to seek their own understanding of the divine, potentially even outside the established religious institutions.
Yeah, that's not exactly going to help you maintain control and order.
Not exactly. So maybe Constantine saw a text like the Gospel of Thomas as, well, a potential threat to the authority of the church, and by extension, a threat to the authority of the Roman state.
So he opted for a version of Christianity that was more about, I don't know, following the rules than about personal spiritual exploration.
That's one way to look at it. And the Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood, they argue that this removal of these mystical texts, it's had some pretty big consequences. They say it's led to, I don't know, maybe a more rigid and dogmatic understanding of Christianity in the centuries since.
That's interesting. Like, we lost some of the depth and richness that was there originally.
Yeah.
So what happened to those mystical texts? Are they just gone forever, or did some of them survive?
Well, some of them did survive, tucked away in libraries and private collections. And, in recent decades, there's been this, resurgence of interest in them. People are rediscovering these lost treasures.
It's like we're finally starting to piece together the full picture, huh? Getting a glimpse of what might have been.
Yeah.
But why now, Why this certain interest in these ancient mystical traditions? What's driving that?
I think, honestly, people are hungry for something more. They're looking for a spirituality that's more experiential, more personally meaningful. They want to connect with the divine, but in a way that's direct, intimate, not just, following rules and rituals.
I could definitely relate to that. It's like we're yearning for that connection that maybe got lost somewhere along the way, a spiritual homecoming almost. So, where do groups like the Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood
Yeah.
fit into all of this? What role are they playing in this uh, revival, I guess you could call it?
Oh, they're vital. They're doing the work of bringing these teachings to light, making them accessible. They're like a bridge between, that ancient wisdom and modern seekers, offering guidance, resources, and a community, which is so important, right? Because these teachings can be, well, pretty dense and challenging.
Yeah, totally. It's not exactly light reading. You need some support to really grapple with it. Okay, so let's do a quick recap of what we've covered today. We started with those concentric circles of problems. Remember, the next time you're facing a challenge, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, where are my thoughts hanging out? Am I stuck in that second or third circle, getting all tangled up in what other people think or like worst case scenarios?
It's such a simple but powerful concept, right?
Absolutely. Just by becoming aware of those thought patterns, we can choose to shift our focus back to the present moment, back to action.
And we talked about the legacy of Constantine the Great, a pivotal figure, no doubt, in the rise of Christianity. But the choices made during his reign, especially, excluding those mystical texts, they've had a ripple effect across the centuries.
The Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood really makes you think about those consequences and makes you wonder, like, what if those texts had been embraced instead? Would Christianity look different today? Would it be more diverse, more open to those mystical experiences? It's a question worth pondering, for sure.
It is, and maybe, just maybe, with this renewed interest in those traditions, we're starting to reclaim some of what was lost.
That's a hopeful thought. So, to wrap things up, I want to leave you with one final thought. Knowing what we've discussed today, how might you approach challenges differently? Will you be more mindful of those societal pressures and fears? Might you be inspired to explore the teachings of the Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood or, any other mystical tradition that calls to you?
The journey of knowledge and understanding, it never ends. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep seeking those deeper truths that light up your path.
Beautifully said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the mysteries of life.